Yo, what's going on? It's the one and only, and we're here joined by the one and only, a Latino legend, man. I'm sure you've heard his love songs. I'm sure you've heard it all, man. This is the one, the only MC Magic. How are you doing today, man?
My brother Smooth, I'm doing amazing. I'm doing great. All glory to God, baby. All glory to God, keeping us healthy, keeping us together, keeping the family right. What else can we be thankful for in these days and times? You feel me?
First and foremost, I want to say thank you for joining me, man. Like, look, this came out of nowhere. You had just seen one of my interviews. You dropped a comment on the YouTube. And then next thing you know, I checked my Instagram. I have a DM from you. Little did you know there was a DM there that sat there since October of last year. And here we are, man. Finally, we're making it happen. So happy to have you on the show, man. Like I've said it numerous times, man. I feel like it's a responsibility of mine with this platform, at least, to show love to the people that have, really paved the way for our culture. And you, my friend, have definitely been a trailblazer.
Man, that's a big compliment, Smooth. I really appreciate that because at the end of the day, when you start writing songs and doing what you love, that's the reason you do it, because you love it, not because you're looking for accolades or something to last 20 years and still be, admired by the fans. Bottom line is, I'm just thankful. You feel me?
Man, well, look, I want to go into your journey. I want to talk about how this all started. We could talk about, the fact that you're still here, but there was a starting point, man. And just let me give you my earliest memory of your music. It was 1997, not to make you feel old.
That's all right. It's all good.
It was 1997. I was a young Latino, 12 years old at the time, I believe, 12 or 13 years old. And I heard Lost in Love on the radio. And that was the first memory. That was the MB Riders. At the time, I think it was MBK. And
yeah.
that was my first memory. But prior to that, because I hit radio in Texas. Prior to that, how long had you been recording?
Well, to be honest with you, Lost in Love, when you heard it, it was 98, because that's when it got re-released as Nasty Boy Click. But that's actually a song from my debut album, MC Magic, that came out in 95.
Wow.
Yeah. And so the label was just asking me, do you have any more songs that sound like Down for Yours, If You Down for Mine, any of that type of vibe? Because we just had success on a major label with Down for Yours as Nasty Boy Click. And I'm like, well, I have this little song called Lost in Love. And the label was like, is it a Nasty Boy Click song? I go, no, it's an MC Magic song. They're like, we should release it as Nasty Boy Click. So all they did was just stamp the new name on it, which is the group that I created anyway, that I founded. And so we rolled with that. And that's when we had the label we were working with at the time. They were a real aggressive independent label back in the days. And so they were well connected with radio. That's when we started reaching the Rio Grande Valley, Miami, Chicago, Denver, and all. We started spreading out from, my roots here in the Southwest.
So the record takes off, shortly thereafter. When did you depart from the group? Because it was a group for a while, and then you ended up just going solo. Around what time was that?
Well, I returned to being solo. I gave the group thing a lot of effort. Matter of fact, I recorded 4 albums. I produced sorry about Benji in the background. I produced 4 albums. Nasty Boy Click, the first chapter, did not have Lost in Love. Nasty Boy Click, the second coming, had Lost in Love. Then I changed it from MBK to MB Riders. And then we went to MB Riders, and that was in 2001. And then we went from there, did a 4th album, which is really a second MB Riders album, and that was .com. After that, it was just so difficult to get everybody to see my vision. Even though I'm the founder, I used to direct everything from music to what people wore on stage. And it was just really, kind of becoming too much of a headache. And so I said, I told the guys, like, listen, if I walk away, I'm not turning back. And they thought I was bluffing. And so I walked away, and I went back to drop my legendary album, Magic City, Magiccity.
That was definitely a classic album. Now let's rewind a little bit. You mentioned the first album that you released was in 95. Was that the first album you ever released?
That's the first album that I ever released on my own label, Nasty Boy Records. And that album is still available on all platforms. it never went to another label. It always stayed on Nasty Boy Records. So that was my first album. Lost in Love was on that. We had Don't Worry on that, Summertime. But for some reason, Lost in Love just grabbed the people's heart.
Yeah, for sure. But prior to 95, how long had you been making music and what actually got you into music?
Music is in my DNA, brother. Music is in my DNA, not because I have musicians in the family, but because I would listen to the pop radio. I would listen to I don't know what they call it late at night. It was called the Love Storm or Slow Notes or Love Jams, Love Zone, whatever they call them. Those were my favorite parts of the radio. So I would stay up late as a 8-year-old, 9-year-old kid just to record those on cassette. Some of those songs that are timeless classics today. And so music got me there. And then I started as a DJ because I don't have any actual musical training. So I just started, poking around with things. So I started as a DJ. I DJ'd for about 15 years, bro. And then my DJ career crossed paths with my MC career. Matter of fact, before I started making songs, I was called Mr. Magic. And then I just said, well, MC are my initials, Marco Cardenas, so let's just go with MC Magic, and boom. So it took me about 3 years to finish up my debut album in 95. So, I mean, I know I'm giving you the long answer to a short question.
No, I want it. That's what I want. I want the experience. I want to know how you got to creating music. So you came from a DJ background, essentially, and transitioned into being an artist. But during the time that you were DJing, did you have the itch to do, music in regards to you actually being an artist? Or did it just happen?
No, I always wanted to do it, but my self-confidence wasn't there. My dad didn't play guitar, my mom didn't sing. There was nobody in the family that pushed me, that say you can do it. As a matter of fact, they would say get a regular job instead of you can do music. And so it was kind of the opposite. So I always felt like I was doing something that I had to take a chance on, and I banked on me. You know what I'm saying? I banked on me, and it's been a long ride. But in 2021. I can tell you that it was worth every effort that we put together, and we're still going too.
Absolutely. Well, I was wondering who were some of your music inspirations and musical influences, especially being Mexican American. There wasn't many people before 95. Maybe Kid Frost. Cypress Hill represented, but who were some of the guys that made you want to pick up the mic, whether they're Hispanic or not?
Yeah. Initially, I was really inspired by love songs. Where I was listening to King Clave, Jose, and I didn't even know who it was. I would just hear him on the radio, be like, amor, amor, da 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 da, la 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 la. I don't know if you know who that is, but that's King Clave. And then you have stuff like Los Angeles Negros that were made, Los Terrícolas, with I luto en mi alma. Those type of songs were playing on the radio when I was a kid. My mom and my tias were washing dishes, playing it, and I was soaking it up in my soul. You feel me? Whether I was playing, whether I was just walking by, the music was speaking to me. And then one day when I was about 14 years old, we had just freshly moved from Phoenix over to a little city outside of Phoenix, Arizona called Avondale. And my mom had qualified for a bigger apartment, with public housing. And so we got a bigger apartment in Avondale. And one of the first few days when I got there, a little girl, a neighbor, she said, I'm having a party. Do you know any DJs? Maybe somebody from Phoenix that's pretty good. And I thought, this is my opportunity. And so I told her, I'm a DJ. I got you. What you want to do? So the only problem is I don't have equipment yet. And so even though I lied to Shirley that night of her birthday party, we probably had about a week to plan it. Her mom gave me $20. I went down to the local record store and bought some 5-inch single or 7-inch singles. I remember we bought Cutie Pie, You're the Reason Why. We bought Cutie Pie and whatever Zap record was crazy at the time. I think it was Dance Floor. Let me see you groove it on the dance floor, baby. And man, that night I probably played Cutie Pie 5 times at least, because I was short on records, but I was using her mom's living room system next to my mom's living room system. And we just put them together, man. And the bug got me that night. From then on, all I ever wanted to do was music. Even if I was, I was part of a breakdance group in Avondale too. I formed a breakdance group back in the day, but I was always making sure the music was, the motor of everything.
Real quick, I'm going to go off subject for a second. Are you aware that they're making breakdancing an Olympic sport in 2024?
That's amazing. I didn't know that, but man, well deserved.
Yeah, it's actually going to be in the 2024 Olympics, man. A b-boy.
That's dope.
That is so.
Man, you're intelligent, bro. I saw some of your interviews. You be pulling out some gold nuggets. I'm like, damn, where'd you pull that one out of?
Man, you know what? I mean, I'm a student of the game, man. One thing about me, just kind of transitioning from artist to promoter to like now jumping into the media realm. Like I told you, man, it's really important for me to pay it forward. And every generation, the way we just said Latinx, right? There's a whole new generation that's coming in, and they're not as educated on the generation before them. Not because they weren't, just because the era that we're in now. So it's like with YouTube being as prevalent and some of these platforms being more prevalent, I'm like, man, look, I have some stories to share, and I also want to tell the stories of people like yourself who like I said, you're a legend, man. And when you talk about these Latin love songs, I'm listening as a student, but I'm also saying, that makes sense because the way that you've created music for our culture, and I don't want to limit it just to Latin culture, but for our culture specifically, those are timeless records. Lost in Love is a timeless record. There's a reason why here in 2020, 2021, MC Magic could put on a show and still draw thousands of people to the show in Texas or in Arizona and California, really anywhere, to be honest with you. So it's
we've been all the way to Japan, bro, and to see Japanese artists. My songs have gone #1 in the Philippines. So it's pretty dope for the little kid that just had dreams. I would listen to when I was a kid. I would listen to Casey Kasem. Man, he was my favorite on-air DJ. I don't know if you know who Casey Kasem is.
I'm gonna Saved by the Bell. The 90s, Casey Kasem was on there. That's how I knew who he was.
Oh yeah, well he was a radio DJ. They had American Top 40. He would count down the 40 biggest hits in America, and man. And it was so dope to listen to. But my favorite part about Casey Kasem is that like he was the #1 DJ. He was like the Ryan Seacrest of the day, Casey Kasem. And my favorite part was when he did those long distance dedications. He would pretend to be opening up a letter. He goes, "Today's dedication comes from Lisa," and she writes, "Dear Casey, 10 years ago I met a guy named Robert." And blah, blah, blah. And man, I was like, that's that shit, I just got into it. So love songs and dedications, I don't know how big it is in Texas, but, like with the Art Laboe on the West Coast, dedications and Latinos, it's like a hand in a glove type thing. It's an expression of love,
Absolutely. It's definitely a thing, and it has been a thing out here. But, we talk about, not to harp on it too much as far as being Latino, but what are some of the hardships that you endured and that you experienced being a Mexican-American artist? I feel like a lot of people tend to like focus on the problem rather than the solution. And to me, not to set it up for you, but I've always felt that you were part of the solution. You were just steady putting out good music. You were steady putting out shows, doing shows, touring. And it was never so much about trying to fit in any other lane other than the lane that you already had. But for you, did you ever experience hardships being a Mexican-American artist or being stereotyped? Because I feel like our people support us when it's authentic and it's real.
Yeah, absolutely. I did. You remind me of several things. #1 is I remember there was a rap contest. It was an MC battle. We have a venue in Phoenix called the Celebrity Theater. It's got a round stage, and there's seats all around it, and the stage rotates. So you could be seeing whoever. So they had a rap contest there. Just, any locals can join. And I'm like, I've been rapping. Let me try it. And so as soon as I hit the stage, first of all, I was the only Mexican on that contest. And there was probably, 99% Black people in the audience. So as soon as I hit the stage, just simply because I was not Black, automatically got booed. Didn't even give me a chance. And so, yeah, I definitely was discriminated against, and I knew it was because I wasn't black. They didn't even listen to my song. They didn't even let me, and I'm like, all right, fuck y'all. Y'all hear about me. You know what I'm saying? And I walked off. And that was, man, that was probably 30 years ago, bro. And and so now in Arizona, lots of people give me a lot of love. Even the young rappers that are coming up, J Rob the Chief, from here from the Valley, and others, they always give me, props for sticking it through. But I didn't stick it through to get props. I stuck it through because I love music, and this is all I ever wanted to do.
Absolutely. Well, so let me ask you something. As far as like, again, just want to ask about our culture in specific. Has there been any artist over the past few years, 10 years, let's just say, that you've seen that you're like, yo, that's that artist right there. They're special, Mexican American artists.
Artists that I love, there's just so many of them, bro. It would be an injustice to the question if I just said this one artist. But I've been a fan of all of them. From, like, I remember the time when I had this idea to do Lost in Love, and I wrote it on a New Year's Eve. I wrote the melody. I wanna get lost in love with you and do. I didn't even have a girl to sing it yet, but I wrote it, and I said this is gonna be a good one. I already felt it. And then I wanted to do that record, and then I heard Lighter Shade of Brown's "When Your Body Gets That Feeling and You Don't Know What to Do." I'm like, that's that Latin active. I want that feeling in a love song. And so that's what I did. That's what my aim was, to give Latinos, my people, because we're always proud of who we are. No matter where we come from in the world, it's important to be proud of who you are. I think so. And so when I heard Latin active, I'm like, this Lost in Love is going to work. It's going to be Latin active, but the love song version. And nobody ever said, oh, you copied Latin. Nobody ever knew it. It was just that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, and you've always waved the flag very proudly. I've seen several show clips of you where you're waving the American, the Mexican flag. You always show
Yeah.
you always show a lot of love. Let me ask you something. And I've gotten some inside information in regards to your business model. You're to me, you're a major independent. You're someone that operates. You're an independent. You're technically independent, but you operate in a major way, from the way that you present your product, your music, but also touring. I know that I've heard, and I think this is something that was really special about you, man. I really want to give you props on this. I feel like you're a true boss, because I've caught wind that you're like, hey, man, nothing against promoters, nothing against people that book shows, but we're taking that into our own hands, and you're booking a lot of your own tours, and you're handling a lot of the logistics of your own shows, and your ticketing, which is, for me, because I'm in that field, is very admirable, because I try to encourage a lot of artists, once they get to a certain drawing power, to do it themselves. But I kind of want to get your insight and your perspective on that aspect of your business.
The main reason why I started promoting concerts, I always wanted to do it because I know some real big time concert promoters, and I saw the kind of financial gain that they were making. And so I would say, man, we need to start doing concerts. So I said it for a long time. But then what was happening is a promoter would book me for a club show in Huntsville, Alabama. Okay. So I arrived at Huntsville, Alabama, and we get in the building, and the crowd is in this hot club, and they're fanning themselves, and you could see it on their faces. They're tired of opening acts. They were tired of 10, 11, 12 opening acts before they get to see MC Magic of the MB Riders. And so that happened over and over in several places. And I'm like, they're punishing my fans. By the time I get on stage, they're tired, they're disturbed, and their phone battery's dead. So they're not gonna be able to post me on social media. And so I just thought about it, and I said, it makes sense. I told my manager, let's do it. He's like, we need an investor. I'm like, nah, we don't need an investor. We're gonna do it ourselves. I said, so let's start this way. There was a little club in Anaheim, California, that gave us the entire door. All we had to do was promote it and fill up the club. They just wanted the drink money.
Absolutely.
And so we did that once, took that money, flipped, and we just kept winning. We was winning. I mean, I was doing, arena type shows. And my thing was, let me give these people artists in my genre. So we'd have Baby Bash, we'd have Little Rob, Amanda Perez, we'd have Miss Crazy, and those type of artists that really made sense. And the people loved it, bro. The people loved it. Matter of fact, we had a bunch of shows booked for 2020, but we got shut dizzy.
Yeah, no, I spoke to D about it. That's what I was talking about. I spoke to Big D about that. We had got on the line some time back, and that was my inside information. but
Big D.
I was just so blown away by the fact that you were doing it, because I've encouraged artists to say, "Hey, man, like we control our own narrative." You know what I mean? Like if we want to go and like you said, it's not just the financial gain aspect of it. It's the fact that certain promoters see on paper like, hey, this guy could draw, but they don't always treat you with the type of respect that the show deserves. And because they don't know, they don't know,
right.
They don't know how to promote, an MC Magic, or even if they do know how to promote, they might not take the experience serious. They might not go, hey, we have fans that are going to come to watch the show, and they're not factoring all those elements. And it's very important for artists to take a true understanding in that. And for me, when I found that out that you were doing your own thing, I was just like, man, that's incredible. Like you're a boss, not only from a financial perspective, but also to the fact that you're taking it out of anybody's hands to essentially, for lack of better words, to fuck up an experience for your fans and also for you, because you're not trying to walk into a shithole and have terrible sound. And I'm sure
that's exactly right. That we've gone through all that terrible sound, bad lighting. Like a lot of times, this is one of my pet peeves, that the people providing sound were the DJs. And when a DJ brings lighting, he brings lighting to light the crowd, not the artist on stage. So we'd be performing in the fucking dark, and the DJ likes to be all over the dance floor, and I'd be in the dark. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons I started wearing all white. Like they gonna see me. Yeah, and so because it's about the experience, bro. It is about the experience. And so I would just kind of lose a little bit of faith in promoters, because they're just looking at the financial dollar. They want to do it as cheap as possible, make the most profit, and move on to the next. Me, I'm trying to take each and every fan and make them a lifetime fan. That was my whole thing. And now when we're doing our own concerts, we can book a meet and greet before the show. We can give fans a little package that guarantees them front row. When we moved into theaters, it was a much better experience. People got in early. They got to go and meet myself and Rob, or whoever the headliner was. We'd take some photos, and it just turned into a beautiful thing,
Yeah, because again, I go back to why it's so important to be able to take that control, because oftentimes, man, like you said, man, like when we leave somebody else in charge of it, they're just not going to handle it with the same care. So
it's crazy. The old saying says, if you want it done right, you got to do it yourself. And that's kind of a selfish saying, because all real successful people like Elon Musk and Bill Gates and the guy who owns Amazon, Jeff Bezos, all of them have teams of people working for them. And so it goes back to, you think small, you're not going to grow if you keep thinking small. And so we have been able to grow a little bit, but then the pandemic just kind of put the brakes on us. And I just started doing some other things that are really amazing now through the pandemic.
Do you mind sharing those things? Like, what are some of the things that you've been working on? Have you thought about doing virtual concerts? Are you just focusing on product? I mean, I saw that you had like a boom box, the Magic Box.
Yeah, we have the Magic Box. And let me go grab them. They're just right over here. I'm just gonna walk away from it. So in addition to the Magic Box, my little Bluetooth boom box, I started expanding on my products on the website nastyboyrecords.com when I saw this. This is a makeup palette, and it's called Lost in Love.
I did see that. I did see that.
You know, and so a young lady named Rosie and her company Lucky Lashes decided to make this for Valentine's Day. And when I saw that while she was using my song Lost in Love, I was like, this is genius. I got sexy lady with the pretty brown eyes, something about you, baby, down for yours if you down for mine. So it inspired me to start a line of makeup aimed at my fans. And my fans have always been females. And even today, my demographic continues to be Latinas. When you look at your analytics on Instagram and on Facebook, I get blown away that my fans are still 14 to 32-year-old females that just love my music. This is sexy lady right here. So I took the lead of the Lost in Love and started a whole a line of them. I got 4 of them. I got Sexy Lady, Lost in Love, Pretty Girl. See, that was in the bubble wrap. I got Pretty Girl and I got Mamacita. That Mamacita's an all glitter palette. And it's really fun because I get to learn more about women. I've been catering to women all my life.
Yeah.
You know, it makes sense and I love it. That's my deal. If you don't love it, you shouldn't be doing it.
So what other merchandise can we expect?
I have a surprise. I have a surprise for Valentine's Day, and I can't tell you because it's a surprise. But for Valentine's Day, I'll be dropping a brand new product in 3 different colors, and you know we got the Pretty Girl hoodies as well. We got the Dream Big hoodies. We got the diamond pens. You know the diamond pen set. We got the glitter hearts. We got a lot of stuff. But the new product that's going to be coming is really dope. It might even start a whole line of just that. So it's exciting. You can tell I'm excited. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And that's a great way to stay busy during this time, you know, because I was going to ask what you had been up to during this time in regards to music, or if you have any new music coming along. I know we kind of skipped the Magic City album, but there's a lot of projects in between Magic City and now.
Yeah, there's lots of them. You know, matter of fact, even after Magic City, I did 4 group albums, 4 solo albums. So, you know, and in 2021, I'm gonna drop another MC Magic album too.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, when are you gonna drop a new project, or you know, more or less like what are your goals? Because to me, because you're such a timeless artist, the beauty of MC Magic, and I really feel like you're one of our first in regards to our culture to be able to like perform. You know, your music, I feel like you could perform till you're 90 years old.
God bless you, brother.
I mean, as long as
I hope I don't have to perform till I'm 90, bro.
But I'm saying though, I feel like you have that type of music that resonates with not just our people, but your fans as well. Because what's so really unique about your performances to me now, especially, is it's very generational. Like you'll see the grandma go with the daughter and go with their granddaughter now. It used to be just the mom and the daughter, but now you're starting to see
all three generations
coming to see you perform, and it's like the young kids are just as much into it as the mom and the grandma. Like
and it's funny that you say that because I meet lots of fans that tell me my nana used to play your music all the time. My nana. And then it goes, you know, and my mom used to play your music all the time. But the number one comment that I hear from people, which is really a compliment to me because that period in people's life is such an influential period. Girls always say, oh my God, your music reminds me of middle school. And, you know, that's when girls first start falling in love and having crushes on guys. And that's when it starts. And so really, it's a compliment to me that my love songs have been able to perpetuate more love within my fans. I think it's a win-win.
Oh yeah, no, for sure, man. I'm telling you, Lost in Love was like one of my first memories, you know what I mean? And I remember that love song, and I remember exactly where I was at when I first heard it, and I remember exactly who I dedicated it to, man. So, you know what I mean? So,
beautiful, bro. That's beautiful. I love it.
But just the fact that you have such a sound that is carried over to generations, it's like, man, dude, like I truly believe that your music will be here long past our lifetime, you know?
Yes. And I appreciate that because, you know, longevity is a very strong word, you know, and in this business, that's what it takes is a little bit of longevity because, you know, you hear the word one-hit wonders, and a lot of people had one-hit wonders, but they're miserable today, you know, and they're in a bad situation.
And I guess that's a good question right there. We'll segue into that. You talk about longevity. What would you say the key to your longevity has been? Because again, I feel like a lot of times artists, and not just artists, but even people I've interviewed, people that I've had conversations with, people that I've had an opportunity to work with, they have this tendency to focus on what they don't have rather than buckle down and really emphasize on what they do have and continue to grow what they already have. Because I think that's just society in general. Like people get caught up with the social media, like wanting to chase what they don't got.
Yeah,
But I feel like in order to really have longevity, you have to focus and build off of what you already have. And
yeah.
for you to
Longevity is real important, and I'm gonna tell you what I think has been my secret is although it's been hard, you got to try not to be influenced by the new young kids that are the hottest song on the radio, because if you keep chasing that, you're always going to be a copy of them.
right,
And so even though I have made songs that are different than my love songs, I made songs with Too Short. I've made songs with Twista. I've made songs that I'm like, oh man, I got to get on this more upbeat, more big hit, more. And the people love my little Latin love songs, bro. That's what they know me for. And the one way that I've explained that a little bit is imagine Sade trying to do the dances that Miley Cyrus does. We want Sade to be Sade. I don't know if you know who Sade is, bro.
I know exactly what Sade is.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah. So Miley Cyrus can be Miley all day, take her clothes off, do backflips naked. Well, she's not gonna be Sade. When we hear Sade, we want to hear Sade. And so I think even though I've done different songs, Million Dollar Mexican, songs about motivating my raza, I've always kept true to the real essence of what made me is those beautiful Latin love records. And if you're true to the music is going to be true to you. That has given me an edge on longevity.
Well, I will say this too about you. One thing that I don't know if everybody really knows is that you've been a pretty selfless person as well. Like you've put out a lot of artists under you, and you've mentored a lot of artists, and you've had a label, obviously, and
Yeah.
you've put out several people. Do you have any aspirations to continue to do that, to work with new
Yes.
artists?
Yes, absolutely. In the past, I signed an artist named Mooshock. We had personal issues, like we weren't even at 1,000 units sold, and they were already, thinking they were bigger than Tupac. And I just, as soon as that happened, I cut them off. And then I created Nasty Boy Click, and we ran for four. They were all signed to Nasty Boy Records. We ran for 4 albums, and then we started to have problems. So I kind of got into this routine where everyone I worked with became a problem. And I didn't like that because it got me away from being happy about music. You want to be in a good energy. I didn't have a parent label telling me this is what we need. These are your deadlines. No major label was there really taking care of me, guiding me. So I was the machine that did everything. I was the label, the artist, the writer, the producer. And so it got exhausting. And so then I decided after I did Magic City and got amazing success, the day I dropped Magic City, it went #1 on the Heat Seekers chart on Billboard. It was #1 in the country the day that I dropped that album. And for those that don't know, the Heat Seekers chart is the chart for independent albums, stuff that's not on a major. So we were #1, and that was a good accomplishment. That was a good accomplishment for me. And I felt this works easier for me. It's easy to feature Bo, Joe, and Larry and just have them as a feature instead of marrying those guys, making a group, and then we ruin the friendship because when you make a group, it's really tough. Unfortunately, I haven't had the luck that others have had, where a group lasts forever. But mostly, I see groups breaking up than staying together, and so. I lost myself in the question. You were asking about signing other people. And so this year, during the pandemic, during my Instagram live, I met one of my fans, and she was bananas. She was happy that I chose her to go live with me. And she said she's a singer. I'm like, well, let me hear you sing. Mostly when someone tells you they're a singer and you ask them to sing, they're like, oh my God, I'm so shy. She's like, okay, here we go. Boom, she sang a song for me. And I'm like, what else you got? Because she sang one of my songs. She sang, Ya no quiero llorar, ya no quiero sufrir. She sang that. And I'm like, what else you got? She goes, let me get my guitar. And now I'm looking at this little girl with her energy, with her ability to sing and play guitar. She sang a song called Mi amor me robó mi corazón. And I'm like, I think she's got it. You know, when someone's got the it factor,
Sure.
you know, I told her as we started working, I was like, you know, you're going to be a lot bigger than anything I've ever done. And she's like, oh my God, don't even say that. That's crazy. She's 18 years old. We just signed her to Nasty Boy Records over the summer. And with my remote studio, following COVID guidelines, I've been traveling to where she lives in El Centro, California. One by one, we put an one by one song, we put an album together. And the first single, the first two singles, because I don't want her to be put in a box that she's only this or that, we're dropping a pop record and a Spanish cover record. Matter of fact, she's doing a cover of Selena for one of her first singles.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Well, I look forward. What's your name?
Her name is J Rocks, ROXXX. And J because her name is Jaylene. So JAYROXXX. And she's on social media. Matter of fact, if you go to my IG, you can tap on her account and you can see her there. Matter of fact, I'll send you her first two videos that we're dropping this month on the 22nd of January.
I look forward to hearing. Do you find it fulfilling being kind of jumping into the executive producer role? Like when you find a talent like that and you identify somebody, you like it kind of brings back that younger version of you.
You're right. It does. It gives me a newfound excitement. With like all projects, excitement is what keeps anything going. Like when you're playing a basketball game, if it's boring, you're not going to make any points. But if you're winning, there's excitement, and that's what I felt working with J Rocks. Is as we were putting this album together, it's not even a genre album because it's all over the place. You know, it's not like a Latin album, a pop album, a hip hop album. It's not. It's a little bit of everything, and so yeah, it has brought me a brand new excitement. Her and her dad decided to team up because her dad is her manager, and me and him teamed up as partners on this project. And so it's a 50-50 deal. Now, completely transparent, something that I've never done before with anyone because mostly I was doing 99% of the work on every project. And people, even if they do 1% of the work, they want 50% of the cut.
Yeah, yeah. Whole nother subject for a whole nother conversation. But I will say this in regards to legacy, man. What do you want your legacy to be? Like, what is ultimately, whenever it's all said and done, what do you want the fans to take away from MC Magic and say, whatever,
There's a saying that I really like. It says, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but they will never forget the way you made them feel. And because I've met so many fans in person, I think it's important that you leave them with a sense of, man, he appreciated me. And that's kind of been my thing all along. That's kind of been my thing is, when I say I built my fans one at a time, that's really what it took. There was a time when my music dropped off radio and the internet was not really popping yet. And so for that period, I was going down, my shows were drying up, and I couldn't find much to do. So what I did was I printed a bunch of MC Magic posters. I already had CDs printed. And so we hit the road. Me and my nephew, Nick Dollars, we started going to the Arizona State Fair, to Albuquerque State Fair, to Boise State Fair. We were going there and we would set up a booth and we would be there for 2 weeks, just meeting fans one by one, signing a poster for them when they bought a $20 2 CD pack. And though that got me through some tough times.
Man, that's a testament to hard work, man. Because one thing, and that's so crazy that you say that because, this is a true testament to everything being earned, nothing being given. You went out there and you hustled your way. And your legacy to me is going to represent that because, not only have you got to think, I heard of you in 1998.
Yeah.
I thought it was 97, 98.
That's all good. I had an album in 97 though. That was Down for Yours with Nasty Boy Click.
It's 2021 now, man. You know what I'm saying? Now, and I mean, it's hard to believe that it's almost been that long now.
Yeah.
We're going on the 30-year mark now, or whatever the case may be. But to be able to have that longevity, I think it's a true testament to the fact that you wanted it. And I think a lot of times people say they want it, but they don't really go after it. They don't want it as bad as they want fill in the blank. a pair of shoes or to
Yeah,
go
yeah.
out to the park.
Partying. Yeah.
And so the fact that you've done that, it's inspiring even for me at this point in my career, to be able to jump into media. Like, I've always felt like it's just a matter of going after it. So I appreciate you sharing that, man. I think that's really dope that you went out there and got it the old fashioned way. If the opportunity is not created for you, create it yourself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you know what? Another thing that really forced me to do what I love is I didn't have a plan B. I worked as a construction worker. I worked as a payroll clerk for U-Haul. I did a few other jobs. I worked in a restaurant, and I know that I'm not cut out to be. I was not cut out to be one of those employees. That wasn't me, bro. That wasn't me. And so there was no plan B. I wasn't like, yeah, if this fails, I can go be a radio jock. Even though I did take a radio jock gig once,
Yeah.
you know, I worked that for a few years, and it got boring for me. I went back to just doing what I do, and thankfully, it has panned out, bro. It has panned out. We got a few records that are legendary. A lot of people bring up Lost in Love a lot, but I mean, there's All My Life. There's Pretty Girl. There's You Look So Fly, So Cool. Tell Me Girl, Can I Talk to You? There's just so many records that we've been able to put together they've been amazing.
Yeah, I know the records with Gemini were big records out here, man. Those are some of my personal favorite records. Are the ones
Crazy for You.
Crazy for You. There you go. That's
Check this out. Check this out. I'm gonna turn around. I'm gonna give you my back for a minute. All right. I'm gonna turn around.
Have you ever met somebody that will love you like I do? I'm going crazy, crazy for you. And see magic with my brother, Small Vega.
That was dope, man.
What you think of that?
Oh man, we gotta make it an official remix now, man.
Yeah, that was crazy for you. Sorry about the sometimes the modulation wheel gets hit by the hose and it goes into modulation by accident.
Hey, well, look, man, I want to wrap up. We definitely got to do this in person. I'm going to talk to you off the record here in a second, but man, thank you so much for your time. Where can the fans find you at?
NastyBoyRecords.com. That's the website, and everywhere else, it's a verified MC Magic channel. All you got to do is search MC Magic.
MC Magic, and we're looking forward to all the projects that are coming soon. And again, I appreciate your time so much. I'm going to keep you on the line because I want to talk to you about a few other things. Everybody that watched, man, take notes. This man is a legend.
I appreciate that, brother.
Utmost respect for everything that you've done and continue to do.
Amen. Gracias, bro. I hope everything sounded good on that side. I'm a tech geek, man. I want to make sure this shit sounds right.
It sounds great, man.
Awesome. Beautiful.